Hello, everyone, and welcome to the new season of the Purposeful Life Show with your host, Adrian Starks. I'm excited to share some new updates of the show with you, starting with a new look, sound, and energy, as well as a variety of guests coming aboard with intriguing topics of conversation. I hope you enjoy the new level of energy that will be brought to the show. Thank you for all of your support since the very beginning in 2019. Wow, it's been 3 years already? Because of you, the Purposeful Life Show is now in the top 5% of all podcasts globally, and we aim to get it into the top 1%. Continue listening to the show and share it with others. You can also now listen to the show on my Facebook page at Adrian Starks, where you can comment in real time and communicate with me about your aha moments. Thank you again for all of your support, and let's make this one hell of a year and be purposeful about doing that. Wishing you all much love and success. Are you recognizing opportunity? Many are not. Businesses are shutting down and people have stopped trying in the trying times. How is it that others are taking advantage and seem to be more productive and busy? Right now, there are doors opening for many of us, and we could be looking in the wrong direction because we are doing things the old way. It's time to adapt and recognize the opportunities by a new way of doing things. Join me as I explain how we can create our own luck and take on opportunities surrounding us. Welcome to the Purposeful Life Show on the Champion Up podcast with Adrian Starks. If you're looking for the ideas that could be your breakthrough for change in your business, career, or personal life, this podcast is just for you. Join Adrian as he speaks on topics of self-development and interviews a variety of entrepreneurs, business owners, and thought leaders to reveal their ideas and solutions to success and its challenges. Subscribe to the show and leave a review. It's time to champion up and be a courageous creator of change. Welcome back, champions, to my Courageous Creators of Change, to the Purposeful Life Show. I'm your host, Adrian Starks, and thank you for listening. Let's talk about recognizing opportunities, because right now there are opportunities surrounding us. However, why are there businesses that are shutting down? Why are people quitting right before they get to a big breakthrough? Why are people even stop trying during the trying times? It's because they're focusing a lot on the problems instead of what they can change, which would be finding and creating the opportunities. I believe firmly what Thomas and Edison had to say about opportunity. He said that opportunities are missed by most people because it is dressed in overalls and looks like work. Well, I don't wear overalls. I'm sure that you're probably not wearing overalls right now, but you can get the context behind this quote. He means that opportunities do not look attractive. They come dressed in things called problems and challenges. And if you're not aware of that, you're going to miss them around the clock. And here's what I feel is happening right now with everything that's going on. There are 3 types of groups of people that are being formed. The first group are the people who watch things happen. They're watching everything unfold right now, and they are so scared that they're stuck. They're not making any moves on their own or changing what they can within their environments. The second group of people are the wanderers. They're wondering when things will turn to their advantage. They're wishing things get better. And then we have the third group. This group makes things happen. They see the challenges head on and they look for ways to be more flexible, more adaptable, and they do not complain. They do not point fingers. They just say, what can I do to make the change within this challenge? This is what I want for us to do today, to recognize those opportunities and be the make things happen people. I'm going to show you how to do that in 2 steps. People often ask me, well, Adrian, as a traveling speaker, don't you have to be in front of people on stages and in boardrooms or even in classrooms or wherever you choose to speak? I said, of course. Well, how are you coping with these times, Adrian? I say, well, I'm doing what I must do. I'm adapting, and I have created ways to speak with teams and organizations online. This comes to that perspective I just talked about, making things happen. This way of thinking and acting didn't come so easily for me. I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs, and they were all about making things happen. I remember going on summer trips with my grandfather to go and collect scrap iron from people who had junk in their yards they wanted to get rid of. As a 12-year-old, when I first started doing these trips, I hated them. I was in the truck with my grandfather. He smelled like dirt and oil. He had a cigar in his mouth and he had this dirty hat on his head. And he would look at me and say, "Are you ready, Aaron?" He could never say my name the right way. He'd always say, "Are you ready, Aaron?" And I would just cringe. But I saw the excitement in his face because he knew something that I did not know. We would drive for hours on endless roads, going to people's houses, collecting junk from their backyards. Now, I would watch the transaction between my grandfather and the person who was selling. A big wad of cash would come out of his pocket. He would hand it over to the person. They would smile and say, "Take it away." And he would get back in his truck with me, smile and say, "Let's go make some more money." I couldn't understand why we were buying junk. And he told me, he says, "I will show you." At the end of our trip, we made about 4 or 5 trips to houses. We would go back to his house. I remember my very first time coming into contact with what I call common man's gold. He gave me a hammer and he says, "Adrian, I want you to take one of these carburetors out of the back of the truck and I want you to hammer away at it, son." And I said, "Why? There's nothing in there. There's nothing to do with it. There's nothing. It's junk." He said, "Just listen to me, son." And I remember hammering away at this thing. And he says, "Harder." And I would hammer away. He says, "Harder." And I would hammer away out of frustration. And all of a sudden, this thing popped open and inside was copper wire. Now, you may not know what copper wire is or what it's used for, but it's used for multiple things, even making money. When I first saw this, it was bright. It was reflecting off of the sunlight, this orange-brown looking color. And he had a plethora of carburetors, broken down motors in the back of this big truck. And we would spend about 4 or 5 hours breaking down everything and collecting all this copper wire, which we would take back to the junkyards. And it was there where the money was made. You see, by the pound, you could make thousands of dollars. And imagine a 12-year-old boy making $200 per transaction. Now, that was when I first came in contact with money, but more importantly, I came in contact with the philosophy of finding the opportunities within the challenges. And this is what I bring forth into what I do now and what I teach teams and organizations and individuals across the world. It is, how do you take the junk, the problems in your life, and how do you create opportunities out of those and create some value from it, called experience, called wisdom. And this is how we grow forward and we can touch our world even more. And just as Thomas Edison said, we had to get dirty to get the values of that copper wire. Right now, what are you ignoring that may be a serious challenge for you, that if you were to work through it, it could be a valuable asset, a valuable result, or an experience that you can take with you as you move forward in these challenging times? You see, when the gates open, everybody, life will start over again. But the thing is that people are going to be ready or people are not going to be ready. And I always say this, if opportunity knocks, you still need to be ready to open the damn door. Come on. So how do we open the door when opportunity knocks? Well, we've got to be ready to recognize it. I'm going to give you 2 steps on how to do that. The first step here is going to be preparation. You've got to start preparing right now for what you want to do. Don't worry about what's not happening. Don't worry about what went wrong. Start preparing wherever you are. I mentioned earlier about people adapting to the times. The people that are going to be truly successful, no matter what their problems or challenges may be, are the ones who adapt to the changes, the ones who are flexible. And I want you to start being flexible. Currently, what can you change right now in your personal environments, your home settings, your personal life? What things do you may need to take away so that you can begin to see the opportunities? We've got to do some self-evaluations here to look at what's distracting us and what are we holding back from. Start preparing right now, wherever you are, no matter how small, no matter how big those steps may be, because opportunity can catch you off guard, and it's nothing worse than not being prepared and having an opportunity. The second step here is patience. Yes, you got to have patience. There are a lot of us that say, well, I know about patience. No, you don't, because why are we getting frustrated right now? I was just in line the other day waiting to get something, and a person behind me was just getting all blown out of proportion because they had to wait a little longer because someone in front of me forgot their card. You see, we as a society have become so busy that we become intolerant to patience, and patience is a secret to nature. That's how things flourish. So you got to start having patience, but more importantly, active patience. And what does that mean? It means that as you're preparing for what you want to achieve right now in this situation, are you staying active toward that goal, toward that vision, but at the same time, you are aware that things don't happen overnight? You see, right now, there are people who spend 90% of their time worrying about 10% of the problems in their life, whereas the 90% of things that are actually going right, they're only spending 10% of their time focusing on that. And this is what causes the inability to be patient. So as we're waiting to go out here into the world again, to hug each other, to shake hands, to see people face to face, we've got to prepare right now, and we need to also have active patience. I talked about preparation, but let me give you some examples quickly here. Preparing. Right now, if you're a business owner, look at your business from a different perspective. Call up some colleagues. Start finding out what ways you can start adapting more online. Look at other people and see what they're doing to adapt. Go into your industry and research what are some things that are evolving that you can jump into and begin to incorporate into your structure. If you are an employee, now it's time for you to start looking at your resume. Start changing some things on it. Start adding some new skills that you haven't added yet, because before this thing happened, you were too busy to do that. You see, we always have time to create value in the challenges that we have, or create the opportunities. There's no excuse. So start preparing right now and have active patience. And can't you tell I love talking about this stuff? Oh, I have so much fun doing it, because this is what my life is all about, working through changes and becoming better. And this is what gives me goosebumps when I can see people light up in their lives. I just did a presentation the other day, and there was someone online who really had a breakthrough with some of this knowledge I was giving to them. I love doing this, and I feel right now is the time for us to be the champions in our life, for us to be the change makers in our life. There's no better time than now to take back control. Although at this time right now, we're not able to travel and I'm not able to get in front of teams and organizations to speak, I still have the opportunity to go online and to help you. If you are an entrepreneur, a business owner, or a solopreneur, and you're looking for a person to come in to inspire and motivate your teams to jump into action instead of waiting for things to happen, then go to www.bookadrianstarks.com. Fill out the information, press submit, and I will be in contact with you shortly. Remember that in a time of crisis and in challenges, there are three types of people that will form: those who watch things happen, those who wondered what happened, and those who make things happen. It's time to make things happen, no matter how small or large your steps may be. This is how you can always recognize opportunity. Go about your business, champion, and do certain things a certain way every single day. Until then, I encourage you to be that courageous creator of change in your life. This is the Purposeful Life Show on the Champion Up Podcast with myself, Adrian Starks, and thank you for listening. Subscribe to the show and connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube at Champion Up with Adrian Starks. Go to championuppodcast.com to be inspired by more life-changing content. Until then, I encourage you to be that courageous creator of change in your life.